ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
Me, I have one. So growing up, I lived in North Carolina, and our house was 1000% haunted. My sister follows me on here. Like, if she sees this video, she'll corroborate my story because Jesus fucking Christ. So when I was little, my dad was overseas. He was in the military, and so then when he came home, I think I was probably like 8, maybe 9. No, I was 8. And when he came home, I was like, oh, I want to sleep in the bed with daddy. Like, I want to sleep with dad. And he's like, yeah, of course. So I slept in his bed, and his door was open. And I was up that night late reading with a flashlight because I was like, oh, I'm going to blow his socks off reading this book to him. And that night, I heard footsteps coming up the stairs. And it was like keys jangling. And so I like go under the covers, have the covers up to here. And in the doorway, I see an apparition of my father. My dad is laying next to me, but I see my dad as plain as day. Oh, it makes me sick just thinking about it. He's like a little bit transparent, like I can kind of see through him, but it's my father. It's 2000s glasses on the back of the head, spiked cargo shorts with the keys on the carabiner. Like, it was exactly my dad. Then he starts going, come here, Vivian. It's my name. Come here, Vivian. And I was like, no way. And I put my covers over my head, and when I looked back out, he was gone. I have so many other stories about that house, but that's the one that sticks with me the most because it scared me so bad. I'll tell you one. I don't remember this. This was told to me by my dad because I was a baby when it happened. But so there is basically 3 stories for our house. There's like the downstairs level that has a pool table, like billiards, and we are on the top floor, so 3 floors above that. And I'm a baby, like baby, sleeping in my crib, can't get out. And then one night, my dad hears me crying, and he goes to my room, crib empty, no baby. He starts freaking out, obviously, and he's searching around the house, following my cry. I'm downstairs, 3 stories down, on top of the pool table. I'm sat on the pool table, like holding a pool ball, crying. I'm telling you, I was probably like 14 months, 15 months. You cannot get out of your crib. Nor could I walk down all those stairs and then get on top of a pool table. Then what? And in that house, me and my sisters, we were on top of the stairs. They're a lot older than me, and they know this story. We were on top of the stairs, and we were looking down into the darkness. Nobody else was home, and we were just like playing with a bouncy ball, like throwing shit down there. You know how kids are stupid. And we threw a bottle cap down there, and it threw back at us, like.
Okay, so I'm sick, so I sound and look very poorly, but let's lock in. So this nice person just said, like, you might have something attached to you. And I was like, don't say that, because when I was younger, like, I really thought that. My entire life, I have experienced so many, like, paranormal or weird shit, and I'll just tell you a couple. So in that particular house, like, when I would get off of school, I'd get off the bus and I'd go home alone. And I had a key to unlock the garage door, and then you lock the garage door behind you. And you know, garage doors are like, they're like metal doors. They're like heavy doors. And I would be in the kitchen making myself some ramen, and that door would be wide open again. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I spent a lot of time outside because things would scare me so badly after school when I was alone that I would just sit outside and wait for my mom to come home. Another instance is just like me being downstairs again making ramen after school and hearing like the shower turn on, and when I go up there, like, I turn off the water and then I run outside. Or there's been times where I was taking a shower and the water just got really, really cold, which, you know, could be the hot water heater not working, or the light would turn off while I was showering and the water would get cold, or the water would get cold. Again, maybe the light bulb died, maybe the hot water heater didn't work, but that would only happen to me. Like, we went through so many light bulbs because of me. Then my family moved to Minnesota, and I've experienced a couple of haunted things happening here. One story that me and my dad shared together, and it was so funny that this was like his first experience like with me as an older person, so I could be like, you felt that. I'll do that one another time if everyone wants to hear that, because that's like, it'd be a longer story. The one I want to say that is about this comment, you might have something attached to you. So my freshman year of college, I was living in a dorm. Shout out Tintin, that was my freshman roommate. When I was living in my dorm, one night I woke up and I was like terrified. I don't remember dreaming anything, but I just woke up and I felt like so much anxiety. It was like a shot out of the dark, and just sat up like whoop, and I was looking around, and in like between our beds there was just like a dark tall figure, and it was just kind of looming. Like, it wasn't standing on the ground, it was just like a cloud, like a black cloud. And I was so mad because this has been happening to me my entire life. I'm 18 at this point, maybe 19, and this has been happening for as long as I can remember. Something crazy, something weird happening to me, and I was so mad that I was just like, get out. Like, I told him to leave, and it dissipated. And ever since then, I haven't experienced really anything too strange. Like some dreams and some other weird stuff, but nothing that is like, that's fucking a ghost story, you know? And I'm 24 now, so it's been like 5 years. Yep, that's what I know. That's what I know. Okay, this is probably the last one that I'll do, but people want to hear about the story with my dad, so I'll tell it. So we just moved to Minnesota, and we moved into this house. It's an old house, and but we just moved in, so like boxes are everywhere. I'm on the phone with my high school boyfriend at like 3 a.m. I'm playing solitaire on my phone, and then I start hearing stuff move around the house, and I was like, dude, did you hear that? And he's like, no. And I said, okay, I gotta hang up on you because I need to figure this out. It sounded like folders being pushed off the counter, and like cardboard boxes being moved, like pushed, like, and I was like, the fuck? And then I heard footsteps, like heavy boots, walking to my door. Do, 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 do. Do an about face, which is a military movement. It's like his boots squeaking, and walking away. Boom, boom, boom. So I call my dad, who's in the other room, and he's like, what? And I'm like, Dad, there's someone in the house. There's someone in our house right now. So he gets up, he has a gun, and he's like looking around, and then he opens up my door and he goes, Vivian, no one's here. And as he says that, this like gust of wind, it's visible, you can see go by his head, and he goes, what the fuck was that? What was that? And I was like, I know, you saw it, you felt it. And like, that was kind of it for that night. There was still a lot of crazy stuff that happened in that house. This is gonna make you guys sick, because it still fucks me up. And every single time I tell someone this, they're like, ew, stop. There would be baby handprints on my mirrors and on our TV. We would wipe them off, and then they would come back. We don't know any babies. We don't know anyone who has a baby. There was never a baby in our house. But constantly, we would wipe tiny baby handprints off of mirrors and the TV. We didn't live there for that long, so that's all I got from that. I remember feeling like really like uneasy living there, but nothing really else other than that. Oh my god, wait, no, I know something else. We were like sitting in the living room, and we just got done eating ice cream, and we left our bowls and our spoons on the counter. And we heard crash, 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 and we're like, what the fuck was that? And the bowl and the spoon was in the sink. We left it on the counter, we heard crash, 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 we came in, bowl and spoon in the sink.
My grandmother was a collector, not of ordinary things, but of the strange and unusual. She traveled the world, bringing back relics from forgotten tombs and haunted houses. Her latest acquisition was a vintage porcelain doll, its painted eyes staring intensely from a dusty antique shop in Paris. It was exquisite, a beautiful Japanese geisha doll, standing upright, dressed in a silky kimono with beautifully embroidered designs. She was hauntingly beautiful, with a chilling aura that sent shivers down my spine. The doll was unsettling. It felt like a presence, watching me with its lifeless eyes. But at the same time, I was intrigued by her and loved having such a beautiful doll in my room. Still, when I was alone, I avoided it as much as possible, choosing to play with my other toys. They felt safe, familiar. This doll, however, was different. It exuded an energy, a darkness that I couldn't quite comprehend. It was as if the doll held within it a story, a dark and sinister history waiting to be unveiled. The first sign that something was truly amiss came a few weeks later. I woke in the dead of night to a strange sound coming from the corner of my room where the doll sat perched on my dresser. It was a whisper, faint and raspy, like the rustle of old parchment. At first, I thought I was just imagining things. My heart pounded in my chest as I strained to hear through the darkness. The whisper came again, this time a little louder, a string of unintelligible words that seemed to slither through the air. Terror gripped me. I pulled the covers over my head, squeezing my eyes shut and willing the sound to stop. But the whispers continued, growing louder, more insistent. I could feel a cold spot forming near my bed, an icy breath that sent shivers down my spine. Their tone laced with a strange mix of sadness and malice. I couldn't understand the words, but their meaning was clear. I was not alone. The doll was alive, and it wanted something from me. One afternoon, I returned home from church to find my doll in the living room on the floor. As I got closer, I saw with a growing sense of dread that something was wrong. Something was different. The doll's once blank eyes were now a terrifying shade of pink, and two thin streaks of red ran down its porcelain cheeks like bloody tears. It was a sight that sent a chill down my spine, a confirmation of my worst fears. Perhaps some paint had run, I tried to tell myself. But I knew better. I had seen the look in the doll's eyes, the malevolent gleam that seemed to follow my every move. The incident with the blood-red tears was a turning point. It was no longer just whispers in the night, but a tangible manifestation of the evil that lurked within the doll. The fear that had been simmering within me now erupted, consuming my thoughts and dictating my every move. The whispers evolved. They became clearer, more menacing. I could make out words now, threats uttered in a voice that dripped with malice. The doll's presence grew stronger, more oppressive. It was as if the shadows themselves were bending to its will, twisting into grotesque shapes that danced at the edge of my vision. Then one terrifying night I saw it. The whispers culminated in a blood-curdling scream. I bolted upright in bed, my heart pounding in my chest, my eyes scanning the room for the source of the sound. And that's when I saw her. Standing in the corner of my room, bathed in the pale moonlight, was the figure of a young girl. Her skin was deathly pale, her eyes hollow sockets in her gaunt face. Her long, dark hair cascaded down her back like a silken waterfall, and her frail body was draped in a white kimono that seemed to shimmer in the darkness. It was the doll, but not as I knew it. It had taken on a human form, a spectral apparition that mirrored the doll's porcelain features. She stared at me with a mixture of sadness and rage, her spectral lips moving silently, forming words I couldn't hear but understood with chilling clarity. "You can't escape me." Years have passed, and I am no longer the scared child I once was. I am an adult, but the memories of that haunted doll still linger, a shadow that follows me wherever I go. I have tried to move on, to forget the terror that plagued my childhood. But the doll's influence is insidious, a poison that has seeped into the very fabric of my being. I still see her sometimes, in the corner of my eye, a fleeting glimpse of a spectral figure with hollow eyes and a haunting smile. I hear her whispers in the dead of night, taunting me with reminders of my past. The doll is gone, discarded years ago in a moment of desperation, but its hold over me remains. I have come to accept that some wounds never truly heal, that some demons never truly die. They linger in the shadows, waiting for the moment when your guard is down, ready to drag you back into the darkness. The haunted doll is a reminder that some things are best left undisturbed, that some doors should never be opened. For the horrors that lie beyond may not be so easily forgotten. They may follow you, haunt you, and shape your life in ways you never thought possible.